Hello and welcome to another review. My name is Daniel Gibson and today we're talking about Kingsmen, the secret organization of spies who are the spies of spies. I mean, they're not in any government, they are kind of like the Men in Black, I guess you could say almost. This is like Men in Black meets Get Smart, and it's all mushed into one with a little bit of James Bond sprinkled on top. The movie follows, Colin Firth, whose name is Harry in the movie. Harry is one of the Kingsmen, and we kind of see throughout the movie that this guy is kind of he's just he's an awesome spy. He's a good dude, and we kind of follow him. He's one of the main points of the movie. Now, at the very start of the movie, we see this basically the main character, whose name is Eggsy in the movie. We see his father sacrifice himself and save Harry's life, and so he's kind of indebted to him and his family. And so we see this whole thing go on, and Eggsy, who is I would say absolutely the main character of the movie, he's the focus. He basically is kind of a troubled youth. He doesn't have a father. His mom gets involved with a guy who's not very good. A lot of trouble. He's a smart, intelligent, and very well experienced kid, but yet unfortunately he kind of chooses to take all his blessings and all his gifts and use them in all the wrong ways. And so we kind of see that throughout the movie, and he ends up that he calls, and somehow off of something that Harry gives him, he calls and he calls in a favor, and it kind of unfolds this whole thing in which basically he begins the process of becoming a Kingsman. And so we kind of see this whole movie. It's a cool thing in the beginning that we see these two different worlds of this kid who's really talented and just kind of underutilizing his talents, and this other guy who is at the pinnacle of society, wealth, everything else, and he's kind of rearing up and bringing up this young kid. And it's really interesting to see that. Basically, though, the whole movie centers around two things. First off, the training of him becoming a Kingsman, and then Samuel L. Jackson's character, who is a pretty funny but awkward guy, who is this tech mogul genius bent on world domination. Not necessarily world domination, but yeah, I'd say essentially he's bent on destroying humanity. I think that's fair enough to say there. And what we see is this reality, this breaking point. We see this whole thing. That's basically where the movie goes from there. But on to the review part of the movie. This movie basically, it's hard. It's one of the most difficult reviews I've had to do yet, and that's because the movie on its own merit is really good. The story is really compelling. The characters are well done. It's really well acted, really well written. It's one of those movies that's good. It's on the brink of ridiculous, but staying within the realms of even though that's like you think to yourself like that's never going to happen, or that's a little crazy, a little impossible, you still enjoy the moment. You're able to look past it, and it really did a good job at that, of just bringing you into this world and this reality and making you really enjoy your time there. But where the movie slips up is that, first off, now granted it's a spy movie and there's a lot of action sequences, but the fight sequences in this are brutal. Now, granted, for the most part, they're all in context, but there is one scene in particular when Samuel L. Jackson's character's big plan is having a test run, and basically there is just this scene of just total and complete brutality. And this was one of the most brutal scenes I think I've ever seen in cinema. I mean, like, it was hardcore brutality. Now, and in this scene too, it was doubly bad because they were while they were playing up a very different church than what I think you and I are probably in, they were playing off of a conservative worldview, a biblical worldview, and taking it to an extreme, or not, if not extreme, an extreme level of hostility. And they were basically putting this all out there, and they were really kind of demonizing the church along the way. So I didn't really enjoy that. But the scene just goes crazy. I mean, literally, my wife she looked away. I mean, it was brutal. It was really, really brutal. I'm not trying to dwell too much and repeat that word over and over again. But that was one part. The second part was lots of language. Now, granted, this movie's rated R, so you obviously have to expect a lot of that stuff. You have to expect, violence, language, and nudity, and that's the other part here, and that is that there's nudity at the end. The movie's pretty clean throughout the entire thing. There's not even really that much of a love interest, and then boom, at the end they just shoehorn this thing in, and we didn't expect it coming in, and boom, there's a nude scene at the end of the movie. It just kind of shoehorned in there with no real need to the story or anything else, and so that was the problem. And so with this movie, that's why I said it's difficult, because on its own merit, the movie gets a 7. So I'm going to go ahead and give it the 7 on the 5-stone scale, because it was really good. But what I have to say is this movie would get a bad family rating. I would not encourage going and seeing it with anybody under the age of 17. I would really take caution in possibly going and seeing it yourself, because it is just such a drastic level of violence and brutality, and then on top of that, the nudity at the end. So, you know, with that said, the movie gets a 7, but it's a 7 with an asterisk next to it, because it's just, you know, it's not quite, it's borderline. And so, yeah, that's really where I have to go with this one. You know, I think it's okay. It's a good movie. It just had some problems and issues that they went too far on. With that said, let me know what you think about the movie. If you've seen it, you're going to see it. Is it not interesting to you at all? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you tune into my channel. There's going to be more updates coming about the Daniel plan real soon. So please hit that subscribe button so you see more of my reviews. I got a tech review coming up for the Galaxy Note Pro, which is going to be coming up hopefully tomorrow. And then we got the Daniel plan videos coming out. So make sure you subscribe to see all my movie reviews, all my other videos. Thank you all so much for watching. God bless. I'll see y'all next video.